Hello, Chattanooga. You're listening to all new Nooga Radio and NoogaRadio.com here on 92.7 FM. So I was watching the Braves earlier today. The Braves are way ahead of schedule. They're ahead of schedule. They're a better baseball team than I gave them credit for, and I actually thought they were going to be very good this year. I thought they'd be competitive in a lot of games. I didn't think this was going to be the year that there was going to be a breakout, but there are a few things that are happening. The Braves are capable of beating the Nationals, which is not something that they were very capable of doing last season. And in fairness, a lot of people did struggle beating the Nationals last season because they can hit incredibly well, and they have some of the best starting pitching in the league with Max Scherzer and Steven Strasburg and Gio Gonzalez. I mean, they're very loaded at pitcher, right? Maybe not middle reliever, but as far as pitching goes, they're loaded. I mean, they are stacked, and they're not the kind of team that you just show up and rout, except in back-to-back days now. That's exactly what the Braves have done. Now, obviously, it's early in the season. It's a small sample size. I don't think you can extrapolate this out to mean that the Braves are great. But is this flukiness from the small sample size, or are the Braves actually good? And I think that the answer here is a little bit of both. But so let me explain, right? So first off, the Braves are getting a ton of production from Preston Tucker, who is batting out of his gourd right now, right? Like, Preston Tucker has an OPS of 816. His batting average is 461. I think he's like 9 of 21 per at bat. So like he's batting out of his mind for Preston Tucker. Like, Preston Tucker's career batting average is closer to 290. This is absolutely unusual for him in just about every way. And yesterday, against Max Scherzer, he mashed a 3-run homer today. He mashed a 3-run homer that got the Braves a gigantic lead. And yesterday, he was hitting the ball well also. And I thought yesterday that made sense, right? Like, you can hit the ball well against AJ Cole. He's the end of the Nationals rotation. You can hit the ball well against AJ Cole. That makes a ton of sense to me. What didn't make any sense to me was when the Braves started knocking around Max Scherzer, who is best pitcher in the National League. I don't think that's a very controversial statement. In the National League, I think so. I mean, outside of Kershaw, who else you got? So I was incredibly impressed with the way that they played offensively, but they also pitched very well. Mike Foltynewicz, who, again, is a guy that's been a known quantity in Major League Baseball, never pitched like this. And this win that Foltynewicz got today is his first win in 8 starts. Like, he had an 8-start losing streak until today, where he was able to ride a 3-0 lead to ultimately a 7-1 victory over the Washington Nationals. And I think that you can say that the Braves are for real, even if you don't think that they can get the level of production from Foltynewicz and from Tucker that they have been getting so far this season. And I'll tell you why. Because Foltynewicz and Tucker are just stopgaps, right? Like, I don't think that Preston Tucker is going to keep up this level of production. But Preston Tucker was always going to be temporary. Ronald Acuna is coming. Sometime in April, I would think. That's the estimate right now. That if Ronald Acuna just in minor league just tears it up, he'll be playing for the Braves around April, mid to late April. And Ronald Acuna is the real deal. Like, there's no flukiness that you're going to be getting with the numbers that guy is going to give you. And so if you're going to have Ronald Acuna's numbers, then at no point should you worry about Preston Tucker keeping up this level of production. Like, that's the real deal then. Like, this is what the Braves can look like if you have Ronald Acuna in that spot, right? And the Braves are also developing pitchers. Now, I don't know if any of those guys are going to make it up to the majors this season. Probably not. Probably next year, you would have to think, is when that would all start for them. But if you get the level of production like you were able to get from Foltynewicz, you can contend with a team like the Nationals. And that's got to be exciting if you're a Braves fan. First off, the Braves play their butt off every game that I've seen this season so far. This is a team that, whether or not they're going to win a lot of games, they're going to be competitive in a number of games, and they're going to give a crap, right? Like, that's something that you didn't see last year. About halfway through the season, when it looked like the Braves had fallen apart, you knew they weren't going to be good, but it didn't even look like they cared. A lot of that just happens because, you play a long baseball season and you're not good, and everybody knows you're not good, and you just kind of hang it up. This team looks like they give a rip, and I think that is hugely important with regards to what it is that they're trying to do. They look like they could be the real deal when they have all the pieces in place, and you can learn this from the possible flukiness of Mike Foltynewicz and Preston Tucker. You learn a lot of things in life from just fluky stuff. Some of the best things that people ever learned about in life were flukes, right? Popsicles. Everybody likes popsicles. It's spring. We're going to be on summer soon, and everyone's going to be eating popsicles. Popsicles were an accident. A guy named Frank Epperson had a drink. He had a soda and a stirring straw for the drink because it was a powdered soda that, I don't know, people used to have powdered sodas back then. And he left it outside in the cold. And when he got it, when he went outside to go get it, he pulled on the stirring stick, and the whole thing came out, and thus the popsicle was invented. Another thing that happened on accident that everybody loves, the Rolling Stones. Keith Richards, Mick Jagger, they happened to meet on a train at Dartford Station in England, and they realized, oh, yeah, I haven't seen you since elementary school. They get to talking, and they have a great conversation about music, and Mick Jagger invites Keith Richards to play in his band. Who knows? Maybe if they never meet in that train station, we never have the Rolling Stones. Mick Jagger, by the way, was on his way to the London School of Economics. Like, we were about to have Mick Jagger, the boring person, who's just going to be some boring dude in London somewhere studying economics. Instead, we have the Rolling Stones, right? Like, that's an accident, but that's something great that came out of an accident. And I think that that's something great that if you're a Braves fan, you learned that maybe something came out of the flukiness of Tucker and Foltynewicz, because your team tries really hard. If they bust their hump every single game, and you can replace Tucker with Ronald Acuna, and if you can replace Foltynewicz with any of the young pitchers that the Braves are working on, you can have a very good baseball team, because it's not like the Braves just sort of beat the Nationals. They stomped them out back-to-back days. They started out down 4 runs yesterday, wound up winning 13-6, and then just absolutely stomped them out today, 7-1, with Max Scherzer getting the start on the mound, which to me is still mind-boggling for just a variety of reasons. I can't understand how that happened, and I understand, like, you're just going to have bad days. And also, Foltynewicz held Bryce Harper in check. Bryce Harper, 2 strikeouts, which are his only 2 strikeouts of the year so far. Bryce Harper, up until today, had only gotten on base, scored homers, or been walked. Today, 2 strikeouts for Foltynewicz, suppressing Bryce Harper and the rest of that lineup, quite frankly, for the Nationals that hits incredibly well. Zimmerman hits well, nothing. Daniel Murphy hits well, nothing. I mean, you're able to see what the Braves could be. Like I said, I don't think that Foltynewicz is going to give you this production every time out. I know for sure Preston Tucker can't keep this up. The 9 for 21 batting that he's doing right now, that's incredible. I don't think he can keep that up either. But you're replacing Tucker with Acuna later on in the year, and you're replacing Foltynewicz either later this year or next season with some young pitchers. Maybe they're going to take their lumps, but they're going to be more talented. And look out. I think the Atlanta Braves could absolutely be scary. You're listening to all new Nuga Radio, NugaRadio.com, 92.7 FM, Clutch with Keon Rose. Thank you for joining me today, making me just a small part of your day. You know that I appreciate each and every one of you. I'm going to shift gears here and talk about the Oklahoma City Thunder in the NBA, because the Thunder are the 6th seed currently. And with all that the Thunder did this summer in terms of getting talent, going out and making a gutsy trade to get Paul George, which is a 1-year rental. They need to do well if they plan on keeping him. Going out there and getting Carmelo Anthony, who is a guy that's trying to prove that he's got some stuff left in the tank. It's weird that the Thunder are the 6th seed in the Eastern Conference. They're a really bad team, and you can see why. First off, Carmelo Anthony is missing wide open 3-pointers, which is not something that I thought that I'd ever see in my life. Like, Carmelo Anthony, you can criticize his game. You can criticize whether or not he's a ball hog. You can criticize whether or not he gives max effort all the time. I don't think he does. You can criticize very frequently whether or not he's a winner, which I don't think is largely his fault. He was just on a lot of really bad teams, or teams that never played defense, or, I mean, pick your excuse for Carmelo Anthony on that one. But one thing I never said about Carmelo Anthony was that he missed wide open threes. That didn't seem to be weird. He's shooting just below the league average, which isn't bad, but according to the advanced analytics, he's missing 3-pointers in which defenders are 4 to 6 feet away from him. Every NBA player, when wide open, especially the kind of variety that shoots the high volume of threes that Carmelo Anthony shoots, you should be knocking those down. So that's one of the problems that the Thunder have. The other problem is that Paul George has seemingly lost the ability to shoot from outside of 6 feet. I don't understand what's happening to the guy. Now, he's still giving you a lot defensively. That he's still getting steals. He's still blocking shots. He's one of the best defenders in the league, period, end of story. But what happened to Paul George offensively? Like, I know Paul George wants to see if he can try and be a Laker this summer, but if you're the Lakers, do you really take a run at Paul George like that? Because, I don't know, the only reason why I would want Paul George is if Paul George could shoot. I mean, defense is great, but Paul George is going to ask for a lot of money this year, and the Lakers do have a lot, but I would only be looking for Paul George if Paul George could shoot, and right now Paul George cannot shoot. So you have that problem with Paul George, and then you have the Russell Westbrook problem, which is the constant Russell Westbrook problem, which is that everything that makes Russell Westbrook great is also everything that makes Russell Westbrook terrible. Russell Westbrook is aggressive and competitive, but he takes horrible shots. The other night, he took a 3 when there was 4 minutes left in the game and they were only down by 5, and you're Russell Westbrook. You can get to the rim basically anytime you feel like it. And between you and Paul George, something's got to be able to give when getting to the basket. But Russell Westbrook will pull up and, with a hand in his face, shoot the most mind-boggling of 3-point shots. And he does this all the time. And my first thought is, where's the head coach? Where's Billy Donovan? Where is Billy Donovan? Like, there's got to be a coach that says this is a bad idea. Now, I understand Russell Westbrook is a difficult guy. Like, Russell Westbrook is the guy that I'm not sure I want to figure out how to tell him that his idea is a bad idea, right? Like, I used to work when I was in college. I used to work at a pizza restaurant. I used to work at Domino's, and I had a manager, and we got into some yelling matches over stuff because he just had some bad ideas. And every now and then you just let the bad idea play out because you just couldn't be bothered to tell him, hey, man, this is not going to work. You know, maybe I shouldn't try and take 5 different pizzas at once. Like, maybe I should just take a couple and come back so they're warm when I get to the house. Yeah, no, that wasn't going to be his idea. And at some point you just get tired of fighting. Like, Russell Westbrook seems like the kind of guy that you just get tired of fighting him. Like, at some point, you just let him do what he wants. And he's a great player. Like, I'm not here to diss Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook, if he scores, I forget exactly how the stat goes, but if he scores 41 points and picks up 22 rebounds for the rest of the season, he's going to average a triple-double again. Like, he's great. But also, the very thing that makes him a ridiculous person. Like, he takes terrible shots down the stretch. They don't run plays in Oklahoma City. They don't. And he's a big part of the reason why. I think he just holds on to the ball. Like Russell Westbrook, it never occurs to him that there might be a better option for Russell Westbrook to give the ball to late in games than Russell Westbrook. Like, it doesn't even cross his mind. And, you know, maybe you have a problem with the fact that Kevin Durant went to Golden State. But I don't have a problem with the fact that he left Oklahoma City. You cannot work with bad coworkers. When you have someone that you actually cannot work with because all their ideas are the greatest ideas and all your ideas suck, you can't work with that person. You cannot continue to work with that person, right? And Kevin Durant, this season notwithstanding, because I think he's got the most technicals in the league, and I think he's actually about to break Rasheed Wallace's technical record. But this season notwithstanding, Kevin Durant is like the most mild-mannered guy, to the point where people wondered if Kevin Durant even had the it factor, the clutch gene to begin with. And he's a guy that if he leaves Russell Westbrook, like if Kevin Durant decides he's had enough of you, like I actually do have to question at some point, how hard is it to play with you? How hard is it to work with you? Like we act like it's cool, but really it's not. Being a jerk is not cool. Being a jerk is not a fun way to go around living life. And we idolize people who have been jerks. But you know why we do that? We do that because people have won. We really only idolize you for being a jerk when you're successful. Every other person who's been a jerk that's not successful, you've never heard of them. You've never heard of them, right? Like we idolize Kobe Bryant's being a jerk because Kobe Bryant managed to walk away with 5 rings. Michael Jordan was a jerk too. Michael Jordan's got 6. So we excuse it. Russell Westbrook's a jerk, but I'm telling you, if we start to get to a point in Russell Westbrook's career where the rings aren't there, where he's not producing, like you're going to have to ask the legitimate question, do we actually like Russell Westbrook? Because I can only talk as a person who's in the media. And Chattanooga's a nice city. I've only ever come across like really nice athletes here. Most athletes are pretty friendly, open. Most coaches, nice, friendly. But I am actually worried about the idea that like one day you're going to cross paths with like a Draymond Green or a Russell Westbrook, and you're going to have to ask this person a question, or Greg Popovich, and just be eviscerated publicly and on camera. Because they're going to make you look stupid. They're going to say things and answer your question in a way that makes you look like a moron. And you're going to ask that question. Like we let Greg Popovich get away with this because he wins. You try not to burn bridges. You try not to be a jerk. Like Russell Westbrook is a jerk. And I think that's part of the reason why Kevin Durant left. And I think that's the reason why the Thunder are bad right now. 6th seed is generally not bad, but when you have the talent that team has, you have Carmelo Anthony, who's not done. He does have gas left in the tank. You've got Paul George, who by everyone's estimation, last free agency is someone that everybody wanted on their team. You have that guy and you say to yourself, yeah, we should be a high-level playoff contender. You should be battling for that 2nd and 3rd spot. It's Golden State. It's Houston. San Antonio's up there, but that's weird. It's weird that the Thunder aren't up there too, because San Antonio doesn't even have Kawhi Leonard. And as much as I love Donovan Mitchell with the Jazz, they're the Jazz. Like we didn't know the Jazz were going to be capable of being this good, and Portland as well. The Thunder should be way better than they are. The Thunder should be better than Portland. I think they should be better than Utah. And I think they should be hanging around fighting for that 3rd spot with San Antonio, which San Antonio is always going to do that because Greg Popovich is their coach. But it's just bizarre to me how bad they've been. It's ridiculous. And I think part of it is Russell Westbrook. Like nobody can tell him anything. Nobody can tell him anything. And he's sort of like the spoiled kid that runs the house. There are plenty of real criticisms that you could have about Russell Westbrook's game, but if you give it to him, does he hear it? Because Billy Donovan's a good coach, and he's basically non-existent. He's using Carmelo Anthony like a traffic cone. Basically, Carmelo Anthony just hangs outside and shoots threes, and lately, he's just been missing them. Like it's bad offense, it's bad offensive design, it's bad playmaking. Russell Westbrook has bad decisions that he makes when he's been playing. I just don't understand what the Thunder can do to get better in time for the playoffs. And if they're out in the 1st round, this whole thing falls apart, because I don't know that you can keep Carmelo Anthony happy if this whole thing does come down. And I don't think you keep Paul George in Oklahoma City. You gambled on the rental, and this is why people don't like to do that, and it might just backfire. You're listening to all new Nuga Radio, NugaRadio.com, 92.7 FM. When we come back, LeBron James versus Nick Saban in the greatest legal battle of our times. 92.7 FM, plus with Keon Rose. Next.
Chattanooga Radio, Digital FM 95.3 HD4, 92.7 FM's news now.
In Dalton, a fiery wreck, and the police say it may have been a suicide. It happened on Wednesday morning. Dalton Police spokesman Bruce Frazier said it was at the Shaw plant. A single vehicle slammed into the Shaw plant building. The driver pronounced dead at the scene. Fire broke out of the Shooter's Depot on Wednesday afternoon. Chattanooga Fire Department spokesman Bruce Garner said the fire went from a warehouse to an attic space and then caused the building to be completely engulfed. Shalford Road was closed off at Highway 153 while firefighters worked the scene. The cause is under investigation. The panhandling ordinance made it through its first reading on Tuesday. City councilman made it clear that this would not affect busking for musicians, but it would put a blanket ban on panhandling all throughout the city of Chattanooga. Right now, only some zones are banned. Sean Hannity's show is on weekdays 3 to 6. Russell Stroud, Nuga Radio News Talk 92.7 News, now.
Traffic, news, and information. Nuga Radio, Digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM.
Chattanooga weather. Clear skies will continue through your nighttime. Cold overnight with a freeze warning in effect. Lows 31 to 34. For Thursday, lots of sunshine. A nice afternoon. Highs near 65. Not as cold tomorrow night. Lows mid-40s. Back into the 60s. A late shower possible Friday. Need those unwanted trees or shrubs cut around your home or business? Call Paul Bunyan Tree Service. That's Paul Bunyan Tree Service. 706-937-TREE. That's 937-8733. And I'm Storm Team 12 Chief Meteorologist Matt Report.
Nuga Radio 92.7. Chattanooga Morning News with Russ and Val. Weekdays from 6 to 9 a.m. on Nuga Radio 92.7 FM. Broadcasting live to over 1 million souls in Chattanooga, the Tennessee Valley, and beyond on frequency modulation 92.7. Sean Hannity, 25,000 watts on digital FM 95.3 HD4. CBS Radio News, NASCAR, Bloomberg Markets, David Toulis, streaming strong at NugaRadio.com. Live on YouTube and Facebook. Nuga Radio, News Talk 92.7. Chattanooga Radio.
High drive, left field, good, ball, baseball, look out, twin.
Fireworks Fridays are back at AT&T Field. This season, your Chattanooga Lookouts have 18 fireworks shows. Book your seats today at lookouts.com.
Hey guys, do you need a mini man break? We know how busy you are, but don't let your hairstyle suffer. Come see the stylist at Sport Clips at Hamilton Place and let them treat you to the MVP experience. A precision haircut, legendary hot steam towel, massaging shampoo, and relaxing neck and shoulder treatment, all while watching your favorite sports. No appointment needed. Sport Clips at Hamilton Place, located in front of Home Depot.
For years, you have heard these words, cash, 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 and more cash. Now, Rick wants you to buy on U.S. Gold American coins. Are you tired of making 1% on your investments with the banks, even 2 or 3% at best? Well, don't miss out. Stop by Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds at 5301 Brainerd Road in Chattanooga. Buy American. Buy now. Gold is on the rise. Certified U.S. Gold American Eagle coins at Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds, 5301 Brainerd Road in Chattanooga.
Mom's furniture, her boxes of paperback romances, Mom's estate. Oh, call Dan. Dan will help you get on with your life. Let Dan clear the old house. Take care of everything. He'll hand you a nice check. 314-4034. Dan, the cleanup man. 314-4034.
In this moment, who has your back?
Do you know the name of your insurance agent? Does your agent know your name? Or would you call a 1-800 number that connects you with whom? Another state? Another country? Get a local independent insurance agent with Auto Owners Insurance. Someone you can call when bad stuff happens. In this moment, get an agent who will protect you in that moment. Let Goss Insurance in Chattanooga help you today. GossInsurance.wordpress.com. Goss, representing Auto Owners Insurance, the no problem people. GossInsurance.com. Goss. GossInsurance.com. Representing Auto Owners Insurance, the no problem people. 875-2500. 875-2500. Want a business phone system that gives you Outlook integration, Salesforce integration, smartphone integration? Why desk sets and expensive lines? Turn smartphones into a cohesive business system. Call Signal 619-1200. Signal Voice and Data 619-1200.
Nuga Radio, digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM knows your opinion is important. So call 800-8949. Agree or disagree. Call 423-800-8949. 800-8949. Nuga Radio, 92.7 FM and 95.3 HD4. News Talk Nuga Radio.
Sharp, opinionated, thought-provoking. Clutch with Keon Rose.
Hello, Chattanooga. You're listening to All New Nuga Radio, NugaRadio.com, 92.7 FM, Clutch with Keon Rose. Thank you for joining me today. Before we get into the LeBron-Nick Saban legal battle, which is my favorite thing that has happened this week, and the Masters are happening this week, and the national title game was on Monday. This is still the best thing that's happened this week. I should point out that the Thunder gave up Victor Oladipo to get Paul George, and Victor Oladipo has the Pacers ready to make the playoffs. They already clinched their spot. They'll probably wind up being a 5th or 6th seed. I don't think that anybody really wants to play the Pacers in the first round. I think Cleveland can manhandle them, but I don't know if you're Boston without Kyrie Irving. You really want to run into Indianapolis right now? Like, I don't think you want to run into the Pacers. I don't think anybody does. Victor Oladipo is probably going to win most improved player, and I can't imagine that you're the Thunder and the way that they're playing right now that you're actually much worse if you have Victor Oladipo on your team. That's all I'm saying. So the Chattanooga Lookouts, make sure to get out there and watch the Chattanooga Lookouts tomorrow. First pitch is 6:15. They're playing the Birmingham Barons. It is opening night of the new season. The Lookouts had a great season last year, won the Southern League title. And look, they're still very loaded, have a lot of the best prospects in the Southern League. So it's going to be fun. They're going to be great again. Also, there's fireworks because it is opening night. There's going to be fireworks at the end of the game. So take your kids. Kids love live sports, fireworks. And of course, if you have a particularly overactive kid, you take them down after the game. They can run the bases. That's something that the Lookouts offer to get you close to the field, get you close to the players, and get you close to the action. That's the Chattanooga Lookouts playing the Birmingham Barons tomorrow at 6:15. So LeBron James and Nick Saban are currently having a public disagreement. That is my favorite thing that has happened this week in sports because they're two big brands. Nick Saban is a brand. College coaches are a brand. And LeBron James is obviously a brand. LeBron James wants to end his career and be a billion-dollar athlete like Michael Jordan. He wants to be a media mogul like Magic Johnson. That's where LeBron James wants to wind up. And I honestly see no good reason why he won't ultimately wind up there. He's got the personality, the charisma, the intelligence, and of course the money for it. So I think LeBron James is going to wind up being one of those kinds of guys when his career is all said and done. And so LeBron James is not taking lightly to the fact that he thinks that he had a great idea that Nick Saban maybe stole, possibly. So let me give you some background on this. LeBron James owns a media platform called Uninterrupted, which is just a platform that is it's an outlet for players to be able to express themselves. And players can come out and they can write articles on there and things like that. Basically work their way around the media, say what they want to say without their words being twisted. But what I think this is really interesting is on LeBron James's platform, he has a show called The Shop, in which players, athletes that he knows, famous athletes, big-time NBA guys, go into a barbershop and they just shoot the breeze, right? I think they debuted this idea on ESPN a couple of years ago, right before the All-Star break, and it was a big hit, so LeBron James kept it. But Nick Saban is also debuting a show, right? LeBron's show is called The Shop. Nick Saban's show is called Shop Talk, in which Alabama players shoot the breeze in a barbershop setting while getting haircuts. So this seems really, honestly, the same as LeBron's actual idea. And LeBron James is not pleased about this. And LeBron James sent a letter to Nick Saban, essentially voicing his concerns about copyright infringement, that he thinks that Nick Saban is stealing his idea. And I think that you would be completely unsurprised to learn that Nick Saban does not agree, and that Nick Saban is going to continue making his show because he is Nick Saban. Here's the quote from Nick Saban. He said, quote, "I think LeBron James is a great player. There's been at least 20 barbershop type things I've seen. I didn't even know he had one. I'm sorry anybody could be offended by something we were just trying to have fun with. I enjoyed it, and we're going to continue to do it." LeBron James, because he is LeBron James and his ego is also massive, fired back. This is what LeBron told reporters. "That's exactly what I think that he would say. I built Uninterrupted for a reason, for us athletes to have a platform to be able to speak about whatever we wanted to talk about. I respect him as a coach, but I'll be damned if I allow someone to use our platform or try to do the same thing we're doing and just think it's okay." So LeBron James, not happy about this, and he did send a letter. I think he said after that quote, the lawyers will figure it out, which the lawyers did figure it out. He sent another letter that was of more of the cease and desist variety that essentially said, "Your continued exploitation of Shop Talk infringes Uninterrupted's copyright, trademark rights, and other valuable intellectual property rights in the shop, and significantly damages Uninterrupted's commercial prospects for the shop," the letter reads. So, yeah, LeBron James telling Nick Saban to stop, Nick Saban saying that he will not stop, and this is the greatest legal battle of the last 10 years, Nick Saban versus LeBron James. It's the thing that we did not know that we wanted. I mean, could you have, like, okay, so you say that styles make fights. That's the great boxing cliche. And could you have any group of people that are different enough from one another? Like Nick Saban is the establishment, essentially. He is the guy at the top of his organization that tells everybody what to do and doesn't take no for an answer and has made himself into a brand and a national icon that way. LeBron James is self-made. He's the athlete. He's the guy that has been told what to do and has managed to get his way around that by essentially being so good at basketball that at some point you just have to give in to his wills, wishes, and demands, to the point where the owner of the team actually has to listen to what LeBron James thinks, wants, or does, because if he doesn't, LeBron bolts and takes essentially the entire economy of Cleveland, Ohio with him. Cleveland's economy is LeBron James. So you have both of these things clashing. It's the greatest legal battle ever. But I learned something today about Nick Saban that maybe I knew already, but I had it reinforced in a very alarming way. And that is that Nick Saban is a damn liar. Okay, let's go back to the Nick Saban quote where Nick Saban says that he has seen at least 20 barbershop style things and that he did not know that LeBron had one. Okay, so maybe he didn't know that LeBron had one. But Nick Saban doesn't watch TV. What 20 barbershop style things could Nick Saban possibly be referring to that he has seen? Nick Saban, to me, doesn't strike me as the guy that listens to podcasts. He doesn't sit down and watch YouTube. And I know he doesn't go home and watch TV. The idea that Nick Saban, after a long, hard day of coaching Alabama football, and he goes home and watches anything other than more film is inherently hilarious. I actually think that it's a funny concept that Nick Saban goes home and just watches TV. Nick Saban's not a normal person like the rest of us. What TV show do you think Nick Saban watches? You think Nick Saban goes home and watches The Voice? Nick Saban doesn't watch TV. What are you talking about? That is just a straight up fabrication. That is a lie of the highest order. Nick Saban doesn't watch TV. What 20 other barbershop style? Like, I don't know if there are or there isn't, but I watch a decent amount of TV, and I've only ever seen LeBron's. What other thing could you possibly be referring to? Now, I do think that Nick Saban does have a point where essentially LeBron James is getting mad at him for using the format. But how mad can you be at somebody for using a format, right? It's not like you sit down and talk about these same things. The cross-sectionality of Alabama football fans who would sit down and watch Nick Saban's show and NBA fans and fans of general sports that would sit down and watch LeBron's show, there is no crossroads there. There's very little. There will be Alabama fans that maybe like the NBA, and there'll be some NBA fans that like Alabama, but it's not such a big overlap in the Venn diagram that this is something that LeBron James really needs to get upset about. But at the same time, you defend your property. But I look at it and I go, wow, it does seem really petty. But also, if we know anything about LeBron James, he is actually the pettiest human on earth. So there's that. You're listening to all new Nuga Radio, NugaRadio.com, 92.7 FM, Clutch with Keon Rose. Make sure, by the way, to call 423-800-8949. That's 423-800-8949. That's the Nuga Radio hotline. That is how you voice your opinions. You can call from 9 to 11 if you have political thoughts that you want to share. That's the David Tula Show from 9 to 11 in the morning. And you can call this show and Sport Talk with Sam Jordan, which comes on in the hour before it. So just keep our phone number in mind. That's 423-800-8949 if you want to interact, as well as Facebook and YouTube, where we stream all of our shows live, our local shows. We stream them there. You can leave a comment, and I'll try and answer the comment. You can leave a comment on the YouTube page as well, and we'll try and get back to you. But we're trying to be interactive here. Get to know the people who are listening, because we're just like you. We just stand at a mic. That's the only difference. So I heard a rumor, Odell Beckham Jr. to the Patriots. And that one's confusing. That's a confusing one. Now, the Patriots have already moved on from Brandon Cooks. They didn't want to re-sign him. That's really why they traded him. They didn't want to re-sign him. I don't think that the Patriots were overly concerned with the picks. I don't think that the Patriots traded Brandon Cooks so that they could try and acquire a quarterback, even though I think that they should. And I talked about it earlier on Sport Talk with Sam Jordan, because I've been filling in for Sam Jordan today. But I think that they should. But they're in all likelihood not going to. But if the Patriots were to get Odell Beckham Jr., what happens? That is actually an acquisition that the Patriots could make, where I'm not entirely certain I know what happens next. I'm not sure the Patriots necessarily get better if they add Odell Beckham Jr. I think from a talent perspective, you pretty much have to pencil them into the Super Bowl if they added him. Yeah. But in terms of fitting into the locker room, does Odell Beckham Jr. play enough games for them to even utilize his talent? Because Bill Belichick strikes me as the exact opposite of Odell Beckham Jr., right? Well, because Bill Belichick is the opposite of a millennial in every definable way. And Odell Beckham Jr. is the living embodiment of millennials. Like, if you look at someone, and I'm a millennial. I'm 28 years old. I think that millennials get a bad rap. I think that we very often get accused of things that previous generations have also done. But if you don't like millennials, you look at Odell Beckham Jr., and what you see is the guy who embodies everything, literally everything you don't like about this generation. That he looks like it. His hair, his attitude, the fact that he's always on Instagram, right? Like they had the Instagram photo before the playoff game a couple years ago, and then they got stomped out in the first round of the playoffs, and Odell Beckham Jr. didn't play well. And Victor Cruz, who was also there, did not play well. They didn't play well after posing on a boat down in Florida before their playoff game. And it looked like they were unfocused and they weren't ready to go. Now, I don't know how much that is actually true, but that's what the perception is. And perception in that particular case wound up being reality for a lot of people. So if you look at Odell Beckham Jr., what you see ultimately is a guy that embodies everything that you don't like. And he also embodies the polar opposite of Bill Belichick, who has moved on from very talented players for a whole lot less headache than Odell Beckham Jr. is capable of giving you. Randy Moss is the best wide receiver that Tom Brady has ever played with. And in the one season that they played together, they went undefeated in the regular season and almost won a Super Bowl together. And even despite that, Bill Belichick was not putting up with Randy Moss nonsense. And Randy Moss was just crazy for that generation. Like Odell Beckham Jr. is crazy in a whole different kind of way. And you think that Bill Belichick has a short fuse, too short a fuse for Wes Welker and the foot jokes? I don't know if you remember that. After Rex Ryan and his alleged foot fetish surfaced, Wes Welker made a bunch of foot jokes during the press conference and he got benched. Didn't have any patience for that. He didn't have any patience for Randy Moss. What on earth makes you think he's going to have any patience for Odell Beckham Jr., who is a guy who scored a touchdown and pretended to poop a football and pretended to be a dog once celebrating a touchdown in the end zone while pretending to urinate on a fire hydrant? Like this is the kind of stuff that Bill Belichick does not do well. The self-aggrandizing, the me. Bill Belichick wants the Patriots to be a machine. He wants them to be a nameless, faceless organization that's basically him and Brady, the end. And Odell Beckham Jr. is not going to fit well there, to the point where I actually wonder if he can even play football at a high level being in a place like that. It is the antithesis of everything that guy is all about. You're listening to all new Nuga Radio, NugaRadio.com, 92.7 FM. So another thing that I noticed about the Patriots is that they're probably going to win the draft because, as I mentioned before, when they traded Brandon Cooks, they were able to acquire a couple of draft picks back, and it now gives the Patriots 4 draft picks in the first 2 rounds of the draft. And the Patriots are deadly when they have early round draft picks. And one thing that they've been able to do better than any other team is just stockpile draft picks. And I think now it's them and the Browns who have the most picks in the first 2 rounds of the NFL draft. Not that we need to worry about the Browns having a ton of picks in the first 2 rounds of the NFL draft, because they will probably find a way to ruin this anyway, like they managed to ruin everything else. Like they're already looking at Josh Allen as their best quarterback in the draft. And I'm confused on that one. I'm actually confused on that one. And I actually think that if with the number 1 overall pick, they don't draft Saquon Barkley, they are incorrect. That is my opinion. But regardless, right? The Patriots are going to be able to draft a number of different picks. And I love the NFL draft. I'm not going to pretend to you like I know exactly who's a good fit for where once you get out of the first like 15 guys of the draft. But I still sit down and watch the whole thing because I can't get past the level of drama that is just built in to what is essentially the hiring process. They've managed to find a way to televise and make popular the hiring process to the point now where the NFL draft is going to be shown on 3 different networks. We're going to see it on NFL Network. We're going to see it over on ESPN as per usual, ESPN being the ones that made this whole thing a big deal. But also, I believe the draft is going to be shown on Fox, which is interesting because if you have cable, you will be able to watch the draft, which was not something that you ever had the option of doing. So now you'll have 3 places simultaneously showing the NFL draft, and you'll get to have your pick, whether you want whoever it is that Fox is running out there, or you want Mel Kiper and his hair, or you want Mike Mayock and his Mike Mayockness. Mike Mayock sounds like he's saying the same 10 words over and over and over again. You have to pay really close attention to differentiate what it is that Mike Mayock is actually trying to tell you. But yeah, you can pick your pick of the litter on that one. I'll probably watch on NFL Network. That's how I usually watch the NFL draft. But I don't know, are the Patriots really going to dominate this thing again? Like it feels like they always do. Even when the Patriots take a guy that draft analysts suspect is, the average guy. Maybe he's not The Patriots took him too early in the draft. Yeah, and then the Patriots draft him, and then he ends up having a long, successful career in the NFL. And they do this so frequently. And yeah, they miss. They miss. I mean, we act like they never miss. They miss from time to time. You know, they did bring in Tim Tebow to take a look at Tim Tebow. They drafted Ryan Mallett rather. And that obviously didn't pan out. After the Redskins were done with Albert Haynesworth, the Patriots took a flyer on him to see if they could get anything out of him. They could not, because no one can get anything out of a guy that doesn't care and isn't trying. But they hit more often than they miss. And just why anyone ever trades with the Patriots is beyond me. It is, because it feels like, A, you lose every trade with them that you ever make, and B, you just wind up giving them more opportunities to be better than you. And no team that has traded with the Patriots has had anywhere near the level of success that they have had. Why anybody trades with this team is incredibly past me. I don't know why. I would not trade with the Patriots. I would always assume something is up. Always. How could you not? They come out on the winning end of trades so often, it seems unfair. Like they're fleecing everyone. Like they're 2 steps ahead. I don't know how they do it. I'm just saying it feels wrong. And when I was a kid, you traded lunches sometimes if you didn't like what you had for lunch. And if there was a kid that always got a better deal than you just stopped trading with them. Like if every time he traded with you, you got crappier food, you stopped trading with them. And yet the rest of the NFL has not seemed to get this memo. Every single time someone trades with the Patriots, you wind up with crappier food. Stop trading with the Patriots. You're listening to All New Nuga Radio, NugaRadio.com. You're on 92.7 FM. Thank you for joining me today, making me just a small part of your day. Remember, folks, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. Stay clutch, and I'll see you in 24 hours. Alex Jones is next.
Chattanooga Morning News with Russ and Val. Weekdays from 6 to 9 a.m.